Hello again and welcome to episode 3 of the NINTENDOGRAM podcast. This week we'll be discussing the recent Twilight Princess HD news regarding amiibo functionality, as well as covering a handful of recent game announcements, news, rumours and a lot more. As per usual, this podcast is brought to you by myself, Benji Summers, and the one Luke Chalice, who today is feeling a little dead inside.
I am always feeling dead inside.
Aww. So in the news this week, it's been slightly more limited than last week. Not a lot of big stories, but there's a few small things to talk about, which I think we should probably spill the beans over now.
Yep.
So my first story, I saved this for you because I've not heard you talk about it. So hopefully it'll be a nice surprise. Don't know how exciting it's going to be, but a new Dragon Ball game.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen an announcement. I've not seen anything about it though.
No, so there's not been too much about it, but what is exciting, which is why I wanted to talk about it, Dragon Ball Project Fusion. The teaser website has been put up by Bandai Namco, but the exciting thing, an interesting thing, I think, is that it's an action RPG, not a fighter. So I remember having a discussion with you a while ago about the SNES, and they got put on the Game Boy Advance. I think it was Legacy of Goku.
Yeah,
something like that.
The one I remember playing.
Yeah, and I only played bits and bobs of it, but I really felt like lately that I wanted a Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z game like that, rather than the fighters that we keep getting.
I've been saying for a long time I'd like to see them go off into an RPG game again anyway.
Yeah, which...
It's been well overdue.
Dragon Ball Z RPGs all popular, and they tie in nicely, I think. So that is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. What about you? What have you got for me, information-wise?
Well, we did have yesterday, being Thursday, Sega have announced the 3D Classics collection is going to be heading to North America in April.
Oh yeah, it was a physical edition, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, not download. Yeah, cool.
Have you seen the games that are included with it?
I believe I have.
Yep.
But you can tell me again.
Oh, because I love to do my lists on it. So we got Power Drift, Puyo Puyo 2, Maze Walker, Fantasy Zone 2 and Fantasy Zone 2W, Sonic the Hedgehog, everyone's ultimate Sega classic.
Yes, definitely.
You got Thunderblade, Galaxy Force 2, and a game I used to play, Altered Beast.
Altered Beast, yeah. I had that. I see a lot of people slating it online as being like an awful game. But I remember it being hard and weird. But I remember playing it quite a lot as a kid. I mean, like, I was 6 years old, so it could have been really bad. And I'm just remembering it purely off nostalgia, which I'm not saying I loved it, but I remember enjoying it at least because I had it. But
we were 6 years old. It was the time of Nintendo versus Sega, and we're playing as a beast fighting things. It was always going to be good in our eyes.
not that I was aware of a rivalry between two companies at 6 years old. I just thought everything was sparkly and flowers.
And everything still is today.
But
yeah, it's coming over to North America in April, so I can assume it'll be coming to the UK around the same time. Unless he wants to do another Yokai Watch, and we're still waiting for Yokai Watch to come out.
Why every week on this podcast you hurt my feelings about Yokai Watch?
You can tell I'm bitter about this.
So it's been another week, Nintendo, and I know you've been listening. You've still not released Yokai Watch or even announced a release date. So, I'm going to give you a bit more time before things get out of hand and I'm going to get angry. But give you a couple more weeks. You can listen to a couple more podcasts from Nintendogram and yours truly. But let's lay it out now. Give us a damn release date.
Well, something that might keep you a bit happy is that Yokai Watch, the anime series, is coming to the UK this spring. So we finally have some Yokai Watch in this country, just not the bloody video game. But yeah, there's not much on it.
I'm shouting inside.
Internally screaming.
After all this, it might not even be that good. But apparently, like sales-wise, it hasn't done the game sales-wise hasn't done very well in America, but which
Well, it was always going to do better in Japan. Let's
which is doing
stereotypes aside, could have all called that.
Yeah, it's on its third game now in Japan. Or fourth, I can't remember.
I don't know, but I know they've recently announced more as well. They love it over there.
Which is annoying me because we don't have it. But, you know, kidding aside, although it is serious, Nintendo, with the TV show, I think we should soon get a release date. Because obviously I'm feeling pressured by myself to announce it. And with the TV show, it would be a nice way to get viewers transferred to their 3DSs. I mean, it's similar to how they did it with Pokemon. Not to compare the two, because everyone does and did, and that got a bit annoying, even though they're just standalone things. But Pokemon, obviously, the anime was very, very successful, and so were the games, which
an important part of my childhood.
Yeah, but I think both were important for different reasons, but they work so well together. I mean, if you loved the TV show, 99% of people probably went and picked up the games.
Definitely.
And vice versa.
And I think you're right. I think the game will get a release date around the same time for the series as well, just to coincide. But again, another week of us waiting.
Yeah, so another little bit of news. Nintendo of America have reconfirmed Star Fox Zero for April.
Yep, because remember last week we were talking about how there was rumours it had been delayed until July.
Yeah.
But apparently Nintendo have put those rumours to bed, saying nope, it's still coming out in April.
Yeah, which I think is cool. Although it's going to be quite expensive from March to April.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern. Not that the game doesn't look exciting or anything, no. But the release of it being in April, I feel like it's going to have a very slow launch.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the Wii U doesn't have the biggest market, obviously, everyone knows that. But is this really going to be the last test for Star Fox by Nintendo?
Who knows? I feel like if the sales are poor, then there's a strong chance that it will be.
But April 22nd in America. I'm not sure if that is the same date everywhere simultaneously.
I would have thought it would be a worldwide release date anyway.
But interestingly, what we've probably not touched upon in previous podcasts is that the game is stated by Nintendo to have amiibo compatibility. So who knows? Because at the moment there's 2 Star Fox amiibos, but they're Smash Bros.
Yeah, we got Fox and Falco.
So are we gonna get Mario skinned spacecrafts?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
So again, going back to the amiibo debate, very likely is that going to be a little cheap thing packaged in with Star Fox? You know, you're going to be able to put your Mario, your Link and stuff on the gamepad, and it's going to go into Star Fox and not really do a great deal apart from maybe make his R-Wing Mario coloured. R-Wing's going to have a Triforce on it.
Kind of similar to the Mario Kart 8 functionalities, where it just gives you a different costume.
I can't see it being that, but a little horrible part of me can just see it being really cheap. Because can you see Nintendo really going all out on some proper Star Fox amiibo, as in Star Fox Zero amiibo, where you get Fox and Peppy,
doing a whole line like they did for Mario,
and Slippy and Falco? And
nah, personally not. I don't think the series is big enough.
I hope we're wrong, because that could be cool. Like, especially if you've got an R-Wing. I know they mentioned a while ago they were trying to figure out how to do an R-Wing amiibo that could fold up into the Landmaster, I believe, or the one that walks. I can't remember what it's called, but now the new one.
I can picture in my head.
Yeah,
so definitely.
I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Miyamoto or someone else, but yeah, they were at least talking about that a year ago, at least, because that was at E3, so it's been a while. But yeah,
I feel like time is running out now as well for them to announce anything new for the game. Well, it's just around the corner. It's less than 3 months away. And I feel like if they announced an amiibo to go with it now, it's quite short notice.
Yeah, especially with the time frame of release, where you got Twilight Princess at the start of March, and then just over a month later you got Star Fox. It's very weird how obviously we're getting a lot of Twilight Princess stuff now, which is expected, but I feel even though they've just reconfirmed it, it's still very quiet for, we haven't had a Star Fox game properly since Star Fox Command, and that was only a handheld. But if you go back to Star Fox Assault, I think that was 2005. So, over a decade now. And there just doesn't seem to be one, much hype, and two, that much push of promotion from Nintendo. But saying that, we still got a couple of months. So
plus, we got two big titles for. Obviously, we got Twilight Princess and we got Pokken to come out before it.
Yeah, which is.
So that'll probably be their priorities for the time being.
Which, again, it's just reminding me how expensive March and April are going to be.
Yeah. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. So we can do.
Indeed. So, Chalice, what have we been playing this week?
I finally decided to plug the GameCube back in and play some F-Zero.
Nice.
Because I'm always itching to play more F-Zero. But no, I love the GX1. It's such an arcade-feeling game. It's just fun. Yeah. It's not a serious game that I've never wanted to, 100% complete or anything. It's just a game I can pick up every now and then, go through Grand Prix and appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that arcade statement, if you will. I can definitely, as obvious as it sounds to what you just said, I can definitely imagine actually being in an arcade in this little race car and playing it on a big screen. But yeah, F-Zero GX is my only F-Zero experience. Funny that. Other than like 5 minutes on the SNES one.
That's it. I played the SNES one not long ago either, because recently bought a 4 SNES collection, so I thought I might as well test out. But no, I had decided to give it a few Grand Prix, and I feel like that one's harder than the GameCube one.
Yeah.
Like with the old controls, it's hard to master.
Yeah, I feel time has, and aging has made that harder than it probably was at the time.
Definitely.
I found them very hard and unforgiving in general.
They don't take any prisoners.
I mean, I've got GX, but I've not really been able to get into it majorly when I bought it. I picked it up during the Wii era, so it was after the GameCube died out. But I just found it seriously difficult. Obviously, it's so fast, but I mean, for a Nintendo game, I thought it'd be a bit more forgiving and a bit more of a learning experience. Like, you can build your way up, but no, it just throws you in there so fast into the deep end. And yeah, I suffered majorly.
And that's it. We'll keep holding out for a new one as well, because it'll happen one day.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Wii U, I don't really... Well, I do kind of know why, but it's weird that they didn't at least try it out, possibly. It would have been cool, I think, with the controller.
Well, we had Fast Racing Neo, didn't we? Just kind of a spiritual sequel in a sense, but...
Apparently that's been selling really well, and the reviews are, they're decent. Especially for an indie game, not to put them down, but for a small company, just doing, a traditional fast racing game. It looks cool.
That's it. I haven't picked it up myself either. I know of people, and I've spoken to them, they're saying it's a really good game.
Yeah, definitely.
It does make me want to pick up as well, and it is, down the line, I'm going to pick it up, but I think word of mouth has been a really good boost for it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is not necessarily a market, but there is definitely people and fans of F-Zero crying out for something. Cause,
I am one of those people.
am I right in saying GX is the last of the series?
It was. Yeah. It must be 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Which is ridiculous, really, for something quite popular. I mean, Captain Falcon as a character is a very popular character. When you think of Smash Bros.
Has done amazingly for him.
Yeah. If someone's to reel off the Smash Bros. Characters, Captain Falcon would be one of the first ones they said.
He's
first
been
10.
In every one. He's a veteran.
He certainly is. He has the moves.
Exactly. So what have you been playing anyway?
I have been playing yet another new game. I never seem to play the same game twice according to this podcast, but Pokemon Y.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me the other day you
yeah.
were going to jump in and play it.
So, yeah, over probably about 2 weeks ago, I just had this random urge just to play a Pokemon game. I didn't want it to be the original because I've been through them last year, like the original, Red on the Game Boy. And, I enjoyed it to an extent, but it was very formula. I just did it for old time's sake because I hadn't been through one in years. And since then, I consider myself a fan of the series, but I'm not too clued up on recent Pokemon games. But why? I remember going through it when it came out, and I didn't quite finish it. I think I literally got 8 badges, and then for whatever reason just stopped. I don't know if another game came out. I was busy with uni or something like that, but I just stopped for whatever reason. And then, like I was saying, to go back to what I was saying, sorry, 2 weeks ago I just had this sort of random urge to play it, and then picked up Y off my shelf. I was like, right, okay, I remember this being decent. Hopefully I'll think the same again. Played it for an hour just before bed. I was really tired, but played it for an hour. Oh my god, it's just awesome.
Pokemon in general is awesome anyway.
Yeah, I get why people like it. I just got a bit... I know a lot of people say this, and it's going to sound really obvious what I'm going to say. I got a bit bored of the formula. And even the games look the same, they play the same, blah, blah, blah. But why? It's not totally different. It's still Pokemon in a nutshell. But there's just this feel of it. I mean, you might argue that the others have it as well, but there's just this certain feel to it that I've not had with my experience of the other games, which I've played them all, in some more than others, but I've played all of them. But there's this feel to it that's just really, it's just exciting, I think, personally, without blowing it out of proportion. It just feels quite exciting for a Pokemon game, for something that felt so stale and boring and transparent, to suddenly feel quite fresh. And I can't really put my finger on why it feels like that, but I think there's a lot of smaller things and subtle changes they made to it. But it's just, I really like the art style as well. I think they're
definitely,
like, just straight away from the get-go when you're in a room and the camera's sort of spinning around the room and you take everything in, you can, just simple little touches I like, that you can like look in the mirror, you can edit your appearance, little things like that. And you're not like this tiny...
It makes the game a little bit more personal.
Yeah, I think so. And it's nice. Obviously, you always have the old rival thing. But you really feel like you're part of this group. You got the group of friends, there's like, 4 or 5 of you.
Yeah.
And you're all setting off at the same sort of time. You've got different goals and different kind of views on things and how you want to progress. Like, if you want to be the Pokemon master or champion, if you want to fill a Pokedex, if you want to do a Pokemon dance. It just feels not necessarily that the story's progressed in terms of anything epic or anything like that. It doesn't. I don't think it needs that. It feels a bit more real, which is weird because obviously it's Pokemon. Everything about it is not real, but it feels a lot more real, where it just comes down to this guy or girl, depending what you choose, going out with a bunch of friends into this new world and just exploring, finding new Pokemon, new towns, meeting new people. It really feels like that sense of adventure again, rather than just a kid setting off on his own because his mum's just randomly moved town conveniently.
Every time.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying it, and I'm not too far in at the moment. I've just got my first badge, so I've just been playing at small bursts on like lunch breaks and
early
before
days,
bed.
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just put 30 hours into it before, so
What starter did you go with? It's an important question. We all want to know.
I can't remember the name, but the water starter. Because last time I went with the grass, so
fair enough.
This time I thought water because Greninja's quite cool. So
I'm always a firm believer. I always go grass type.
I always go grass type, but that's I just wanted to change it up a bit because last time I went grass, and I
We're
usually
a
go
dying
grass.
group.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Something about it.
It is. I love my Bulbasaur.
So similar to last week, Chalice, this week we have had a little bit of news come out about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some information on the amiibos and their functionality. Did you want to go through that with us?
I can do indeed.
Nice.
So we now finally have a name for the upcoming unlockable dungeon called the Cave of Shadows, which we pretty much guessed it was going to be a Cave of Ordeals sort of style dungeon.
Which I'm not happy about. Without,
I'll take a new area of the game wherever it comes. But no, I think we all did hope it was going to be a whole new dungeon, but I don't know if we're asking too much, if we set our hopes too high.
I never like to moan too much about stuff like this and being needy and whatnot, but Cave of Shadows, even when you say that, I know what it's going to be. Yeah, I just know what it's going to be. Which, on the last podcast, in episode 2, when there was a rumour sheet come out with a slightly different name, I think it was a Cave of Twilight, something like that.
Yeah, the one Twilight in it.
But when that was said, I was like, oh God, no. It's going to be another Cave of Ordeals type thing, or whether it's replacing it or being another one. It's yet to be seen.
I was just about to say, there is already a Cave of Ordeals in Twilight Princess, isn't there?
Yeah, so basically now we've got another Cave of Ordeals, but you do it as Wolf Link, which is, again, I don't like to moan too much. It's just not very exciting. It doesn't make me feel like, oh man, I've got to play this version of a game I already own and have played countless times and completed, and go spend another 50 quid on it.
That's true.
So
I don't think anyone's rushing to think, right, I've got to find this Cave of Shadows now. I'm excited. And playing as the wolf wasn't my favourite experience of the game anyway, but...
No, I do think people blew it out of proportion though, the wolf stuff. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible.
Oh no, definitely not terrible.
It broke up the flow and pacing and gameplay.
No, I mean, obviously, because I've already ordered it with the amiibo, so I'm definitely going to check out, but it could be a case where we had our hopes too high, but that's it now. It's been confirmed. We've got Cave of Shadows. It's pretty much Cave of Ordeals. Just have to see how it goes. Yeah. There's nothing more we can really say to it. No,
but what was the functionality for the amiibos? Because I know there's a few that work with the Smash Brothers line, like the Zelda characters.
They said all the Zelda characters have their own functionality. So Link and Toon Link will replenish your arrows.
Yeah.
Zelda and Sheik will replenish your hearts.
Okay.
And the more interesting one is the Ganondorf one, which once you touch it, it will deal double damage to yourself, so it makes the game harder.
Yeah, interesting in the sense that doesn't hero mode do that?
Yeah, pretty much. So I think you put hero mode on, you touch Ganondorf, you're going to have a really, really hard time.
Yeah, that could suck.
But it could also make it so much more interesting.
Yeah, I mean... It's debatable, really, how well the amiibos are being used in terms of, rather than sitting on my shelf looking pretty, actually doing or adding something to games. Yeah, this isn't the greatest sort of interaction with the games. At least some of them are doing something, I guess. But what else could it be? You're not going to play as different characters. You're not going to run around with a Sheik amiibo, for instance. You're not going to run around as Sheik in Twilight Princess. Like, that would be silly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of my point. You just covered it. I mean, I'm glad they're doing something more with Amiibo. I mean, we've had Smash Bros, which has probably used it the best so far, but you look at Mario Kart, it's changed the costume. Even Hyrule Warriors, it didn't do a lot. So I'm glad they are in some way integrating them more with the gameplay. But yeah, I feel like they could be doing a lot more now. But what that is, I don't really know for sure. I mean, there's really I'm not working for Nintendo. I'm not the one being paid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, but I think it's good though. They go down this path of looking at these movies, thinking, right, what can we do with them? And it will only push sales as well because I only have 2 Amiibo and I've been collecting them. These are just ones I've picked up along the way. So now it's kind of made me think if the games are going to bring more out with using the Amiibos, I'm going to want to buy more.
Yeah,
it's only going to improve sales.
I do think it has a long way to go, but then you've really got to think about why people are buying Amiibo. I mean, myself, it's quite a selfish reason, but I couldn't really, for my personal benefit, care less what they do in the game. I like them just to sit on my shelf, as sad as that is, or whatever, but I just bought the ones I wanted to buy because they look good.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people just want them as collectibles, which is fair enough.
Yeah,
I know I talked to some people who've collected them all as they've been going along, which is a ridiculous amount of money, but that's what they want them for.
Yeah, which I think we predicted would happen anyway. I mean, as soon as it was announced, I was like, wow, I want that because I want it on my shelf. Not because I think it's going to be this groundbreaking little toy that's going to revolutionise the way I play a game.
But then you got to think, Amiibo aren't going anywhere anytime soon because they're definitely going to be around for the NX.
Nah, yeah.
So, in fairness, they're only going to be more integrated in our gameplays.
Yeah, and without getting too bitchy, it does annoy me online when I see people just really bashing them. If you don't want them, don't buy them. And
yeah, it's simple as
that. So Twilight Princess, for example, are you really missing out if you don't get Sheik Amiibo or Ganondorf? Like,
you'll just have to get your hearts like a normal Zelda player.
Yeah, exactly. And the Wolf Link, Wolf Link comes with the game anyway in most cases. I've not seen it actually advertised on its own at all.
No. So, I know you can pick up on its own.
Yeah, and you probably get it digitally on its own as well. But yeah, it's getting petty.
Going back to the Cave of Shadows, you imagine some of the uproar it would have been like. Just say it was another dungeon, which I kind of hope. The people who've bought the game singly on its own would have so much reason to moan, like, oh, I've just bought an incomplete game unless I buy this accessory.
Yeah, and I do understand that. But then there is the argument at the moment, oh, we want you to do more of Amiibo. You're not doing enough with Amiibo, but please don't lock out the content. So it's a weird balance at the moment that I don't think they're getting right at all. But
to summarise the whole thing, Nintendo just can't win.
Pretty much.
We're all such needy little fanboys.
Yeah. But at the same time, talking about Twilight Princess, you wanted to touch upon the graphics because I know you had a little thing to set straight with some people.
I do not understand people's beef with the graphics. That's my point. I've looked at comparisons and there is a clear difference.
Yeah.
Game that's coming out, it does look more polished. It does look better, and I just can't see where people are coming from when they're saying there's hardly any difference.
Well, I can sympathise with them, and I kind of bat for that team as well because I'm not the type just to go onto forums or YouTube or anything and leave in the comments, OMG, this game looks turd, because that's what the kids use these days. But I mean, it looks better. I'm not gonna lie, it looks better, but it's not. My eyes aren't popping out. I'm not saying that necessarily needed to happen. Like it needed to look like Metal Gear Solid 5. Wind Waker sort of did the same thing, where it was just higher resolution. Everything was a bit sharper and cleaner looking, and the lighting was improved. I find the biggest problem is what they did with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask was so much more impressive that it kind of built up my expectations a bit more. And I know they're older games and smaller games, and probably I'm not a game developer, but I imagine easier to sort of play with and tinker with than Twilight Princess being a Wii game. But yeah, it just left me feeling a little bit deflated when I saw it initially, and even now, like, I do agree, it does look better, but it leaves me wanting that little bit more that Ocarina did, because when I saw that and Majora's Mask, I was like, wow, like, it still retains the feel and look of the original, but it really improved it. But like I said, retexturizing the whole of Twilight Princess is going to be a lot bigger of a job than it would Ocarina and Majora, because it is huge.
So, in your opinion, then, what do you reckon they could have done with Twilight Princess to improve upon the graphics then? More than they have done already then?
What do I reckon? Or, like...
how could they have improved it from what it is now?
If I had my own way?
Yeah. You're in control of this game now. You do it.
Retexture it completely. And I know that is... Some people might argue it's like building another game, which it's not. But just like I said with Ocarina, you look at the walls and floors and signs and even the grass and Link himself. He feels, or they look completely different, but they retain the same art style and feel of the original, which I think it just really needs to do. It needed to modernise and make it look 10 years younger and 10 years newer than it looked.
I think you said it yourself, because when you said these were older games, when I'm talking about Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, because you can compare the two, and it's obviously going to look a bit, you can see the age of the two games. But I feel like Twilight Princess, when it came out on GameCube and Wii, it still looks like a modern game, as it is. That's no different from trying to do a HD remake of Vice City. Because there's only, maybe not the best example, but there's only so much you could have done with that game to make it
I feel
as modern.
I feel with that, if we're going to say something like Vice City, I believe, I might be wrong here, so please forgive me, but like on PC or I'm not sure, PC phone, something like that, there has been sort of a HD version, not necessarily called Vice City HD, but it's been bumped up resolution-wise, blah, 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 and it was the same game, just sharper and whatnot, like what I said before, Twilight Princess. But would you not, say they announced today, Vice City HD for the PS4, Xbox One.
I think the internet would implode, but...
You would expect it to look like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'd set the bar, basically.
Yeah, which I don't think... obviously, we haven't got the new Zelda out, and I'm not saying it should look like it, but it should look as impressive as the new Zelda. Because that looks impressive. Wind Waker HD looks more impressive than Twilight Princess HD. Like, fact. I know it's a completely different art style, but that is where art styles really matter. Like, it's proof right there.
That's the thing, though. Like, this... Okay, I know we don't really know a lot about this new Zelda game coming out for whatever console you think it's going to come out for, but the art style of that game is completely different to Twilight Princess. Now, with the Wind Waker remake, it was still the same art style of the previous game, but Twilight Princess can't just change its whole art style, because then it is just a new game, pretty much. I'm not following the same gameplay.
I'm definitely not saying it should change art style. I just mean it should do... it should retain the same goals in terms of art style, which is it's realism. It was quite realistic. Well, fantasy realism. Sort of reminded me of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles on GameCube, that sort of look. Twilight Princess. They should have done that, but just try and refine everything. Like, if, for instance, a cliff looks like a cardboard cutout, which frankly a lot of them do, let's be blunt, let's change that. Let's modernise. It's 2016. Stuff shouldn't be looking like cardboard anymore, unless it's Paper Mario.
Then it can definitely look like cardboard. I want it to look like
cardboard. Definitely. But high definition cardboard, damn it. But yeah, I hope I haven't sounded like I'm bashing it too much. I just feel like they could have done more with it. I get why they haven't, because they're going to get a lot of money for it regardless, and it's been easier for them, and they can develop the other Zelda, and they were doing Triforce Heroes, etc., etc. But I do feel a little bit disappointed. But at the same time, I am very much looking forward to playing it, because that being said, it is a wonderful game and one of my favourite Zelda games.
That's it. It's just made £50 from both of us. That's £100 already. They've done their job.
Yeah, we're suckers.
We are. What can we do? Hey,
one day we will learn. No, we won't.
We won't. Cool. So to end the show, I guess we could touch over this week's NX rumours, because every week we get plenty coming in from all directions. But have you heard the report that suggests that the NX Portable will be a 2016 launch with a 2017 launch for an actual home console?
Yes, which is something that's been rumoured and talked about for quite a while, probably a good part of a year now. But yeah, like a hybrid console where you get a home console that has a controller that also works as a portable. That's my impression anyway. I might be wrong, but yeah, not sure how I feel. I'm always intrigued, slightly excited, slightly skeptical, because it is Nintendo. I don't want it to compromise like on power, because I'd like to be quite powerful. If it needs to be up there with the other competitors, I'm not saying it needs to blow anything out of the water. It'd be nice, obviously, but it's not always about graphics and power. But it needs to be something that feels a bit more modern, and not a cheap bit of hardware like cutting corners everywhere. Maybe need to go a bit more all out with it this time around.
Go full guns blazing.
Yeah.
Which would be quite a strange... I mean, it's only a rumour, we know that, but it'd be very strange if this turned out to be a legitimate thing, because we've had the new 3DS come out in recent years, but Nintendo hardly done a thing with it. They released Xenoblade Chronicles as an exclusive, and that's about it. So for them to move on to another handheld would be a massive question mark over what have you done with the new 3DS.
That, yeah, and it would really throw into question the 3DS in general, or their handheld market in general, because would that not squash down their market into being like, okay, we've only got one current modern product out. Obviously it does both, but
then so have Microsoft, because they haven't delved into the handheld industry. They only have the Xbox One, and let's be fair, Sony pretty much now only has one, because the Vita is a dead console.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but they've never been in it, which is probably my argument. You know, Nintendo's dominated it ever since it really began. Obviously, mobile phone and possibly tablets, if you want to call them handheld.
Well, it's all the same mobile gaming anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, but mobile gaming in general has come into fruition a lot more. But Nintendo are rumoured, obviously, well, not even rumoured, confirmed to be going down that road anyway. So we're going to be seeing some of that, but I don't think that will necessarily take over from there.
No, I mean, games. It's easily understandable that mobile gaming on your phones and your tablets is dominating the handheld market, but that in turn means very little.
Yeah, I mean, 3DS has still sold bucket loads, and the games still sell very well. I mean, Pokemon X and Y, Mario Kart 7, Animal Crossing, Happy Home Designer, and New Leaf, both doing very well. Tamagotchi Life doing very well, and Tamagotchi Life is a game that you can imagine being on a smartphone, and Animal Crossing, but not necessarily. Not saying they will necessarily, but you can imagine it happening. But yet, people are still shelling out, buying 3DSs or 2DSs, whatever, and getting them games.
Definitely, Tamagotchi Life, even because it was a 2014 title, I think it was.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, and it was one of Nintendo's best-selling games of 2015.
Yeah, which
it is
doesn't
still
surprise
selling.
me.
Yeah,
one of those was me.
It's a very fun and strange game, but that's the thing. This is maybe what we can expect from Miitomo when that comes out in the next few months.
Yeah, which is, again, I think everyone forgets about it. I know I certainly do. That is a thing. I know they're keeping it on
anyway, don't we?
I know they're keeping it on DL just for specific reasons, not to have too much out at once. But Yeah, again, that's another thing to be at least slightly optimistic and slightly excited for. Again, I'm always skeptical about Nintendo because they can get things wrong sometimes, quite a lot of the time. They just do things their own way.
It's like sugarcoat right here.
Yeah.
But it'll definitely be an interesting way to see how they execute it.
Again, going back to the hybrid console of being a handheld and home console, I'm torn in two minds, to be honest with you, because I like the idea, like on paper, and you're like, okay, like wow, surely that's what we've always wanted. Something you can just put on the TV and then just take out onto the bus or wherever. But surely there's got to be some compromise in terms of the power, because you know you're not going to really have something PS4, Xbox One-esque being transferred into a handheld that's going to run really well. I don't think, anyway, unless they've really gone all out in terms of hardware and
just
specifications.
Blow everybody's minds.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily what Nintendo do. I know the GameCube was more powerful, the most powerful console in that race. The N64 was still quite powerful, and even a SNES compared to Genesis and whatnot wasn't. It wasn't like the Wii and PS3, Xbox 360. That's when they really put themselves at a distance. Sorry, which they've not quite come back from. They had that casual market with the Wii and the new type of games that come out then, but I don't feel like they've come back with the Wii U, and it's come to hurt them a little bit.
It has, but I feel like it goes with the later Waters philosophy anyway, where games, me and you will agree, like it's not to do with the graphics, it's all about the fun.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what video gaming is all about.
No, I completely agree. Like, graphics don't really matter too much to me. Don't get me wrong, though. I do appreciate when a game has something that graphically is exceptional, and it's when graphics and art style get nailed so well that they both complement each other, and then there's real purpose for the game. It was a good game, like gameplay wise, which something like Zelda could just benefit from really easily because it has the art style, it has the gameplay. We know it down to a T. It just, something like that. Metroid, even Mario, just and not necessarily in terms of graphics, but power, because power always helps. Like, what you can do on screen, how many things you can have on screen, how many different mechanics you have working, and how complex you can make what you're seeing and playing is. That's another thing, anyway. I just hope there's nothing too compromised. I don't want that to be true, but then the hardware sucks and it operates really badly. It's like when the 3DS got announced, and it's like, but it has a camera. And it's like, a camera, cool. And you can take pictures in 3D. Oh, man, that's cool, like, amazing. And then you actually use it, it's like, wow, this is terrible. And that's not being nitpicky either. It is just, you cannot see a thing. But yeah, how do you feel about these recent rumours? Like, what is your sort of wish for an ideal console?
I honestly don't know. I keep thinking about it, and I just want a simple console. Like, as simple as the GameCube was. You've got your console. Here's some games. Have fun with your games. I'm not one for gimmicks.
Yeah, I feel the same. But then, from not that I have necessarily a business head, but from my understanding of their perspective, the market is, PS4 is dominating at the moment, and to do a console that doesn't really have a unique selling point, like the Wii did, like the Wii U tried to have, but then they named it something stupid, that could damage them and really limit the sales and wide appeal of the NX or whatever it's going to be, if they didn't do something unique with it. But then on the flip side, they could try and go and do something unique or what they feel like is unique and different to the other consoles, like the Wii U. And like the Wii U, it could really not do too well, even though it has some great games. But it's strange because they don't utilise the Wii U enough, as we've said before. And it just I wouldn't want it to get in a horrible little cycle where they keep putting out different bits of hardware that work differently and are hard to develop for and are a bit left of the curve, which is not necessarily a bad thing, being left of the curve, but after a while it's like it gets to that same old cycle where it's not selling well, people don't want to develop for it, you get no third party support. I'm not saying they should just be boring or anything like that, but something to have wide appeal, but you can still get every demographic under there. You can still argue if you don't want it or not, you'd still get your FIFA on there and stuff like that, because that is what people want, whether you like it or not. Yeah, Call of Duty, stuff like that. A lot of people, like millions, want them, and I imagine anyway, for a lot of people, that's why they don't get a Nintendo console, because I know a lot of people, and I see online, that say, oh, I'm going to get the Wii U or whatever when Zelda's out and when Mario's out, and I'll buy it late in the cycle just to play them, especially when the console's cheap and it's dropped in price significantly. But I feel like it needs to offer that, as always, the Zeldas, Marios, etc. But like in the GameCube days, offer the EA stuff, your FIFAs, your Call of Duties, your wrestling games, your annual games that maybe people jump on the bandwagon of criticising a lot, which, each their own.
These games aren't for everyone anyway, but
yeah,
looking at the software sales for 2015 in the UK, and the top game was FIFA.
Exactly.
They've got so many people who criticise games, but you can't doubt it sells.
No, I know. And
granted, it's on a variety of consoles, obviously just not on Nintendo, but it's a gap in the market where they could be fitting themselves in, get a part of a share.
And I know I'm not the biggest FIFA guy or Call of Duty guy, but there would probably be a part of me that at least 1 year, maybe not FIFA 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, but I'd probably pick up a FIFA game at some point to play on my Nintendo console.
Yeah,
because if you like the game, like I like FIFA, I don't feel like buying the same game every year, essentially. But I would buy it to play on my Nintendo console, because I've found at the moment, when I had a Wii, I then had a PS2 as well to play them kind of games on, and then I got an Xbox 360 because obviously everything went up to HD, and not that I felt like I needed to go there for graphics or anything, definitely not that, but it just had that wider library where things wouldn't come out on the Wii for 6 months, and I'm like, well, I want to play something, even if it's just FIFA with my friends or Call of Duty or Skate or Halo, anything like that. Obviously it's not going to be Halo, but you know what I mean.
No, I know where you're coming from.
So the NX is a bit of a mystery, it's fair to say, but I'm excited. I'm always excited when there's news for hardware for Nintendo, because obviously being biased, it just feels a lot more special, because you genuinely don't have a clue what they're going to do. You can PS4 and Xboxes and stuff like that. You can predict bits and bobs. They're going to be powerful of improvements on what they've done before, but Nintendo, you just don't know. For better or worse, you don't know what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm definitely feeling quite optimistic about it. I'm looking forward to spending probably the last year of the Wii U, though. I'm really looking forward to getting quite a few games out of it, because it really looks like they're going to give it a good last year, in my opinion.
I think so.
I do think we'll get Zelda on the Wii U as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know you didn't feel the same, but
let's see.
We're definitely getting it on Wii U.
Maybe.
Definitely. But with that being said, let's wrap up the show.
I think that is a good place to wrap it up.
Because we are short on time today, unfortunately. Chalice is short on life. He needs some replenishment.
I've done really well this whole podcast not to keep sniffing and coughing and sneezing. I'm going to pat myself on the back. But that's fine. Next week I should be fine and fit again. And hopefully we've got a bit more news to discuss as well, because it has been quite a quiet week.
Yeah, the well is dry.
That's it. And next week we'll have our Yoko Watch release day and a new F-Zero game announced, and everything will be right in the world.
And I'll get my letter of apology from Nintendo. So
exactly.
I thank you in advance, Nintendo. But with that all being said, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you again for tuning in. It's been a pleasure as always. I've been Benji Summers, and Luke Chalice has been Luke Chalice, but slightly dead. So that is that. You can follow us on Twitter at NintendoGram UK, and you can follow us on Tumblr, where we post nice little GIFs and shiny little pictures that we try so hard to make nice and pretty for our page. You can follow us there at nintendogram.tumblr.com.
Unfortunately, we don't post selfies.
Not yet. So
until we're rich and famous.
If there's a request for that, I'm sure I've got some nudes of Chalice somewhere.
We'll gain listeners for selfies.
Yeah, boy. With that all out the way, it's probably time for us to say goodbye and fade off into the distance.
Thank you once again.
We're waving goodbye.
Bye.